Hello and welcome to News Laundry. It's the 18th of August, and as of today, it's been more than 2 days since Taliban has taken control of most areas of Afghanistan, including the capital city of Kabul. Today, I'm joined by Farzana Kochai, who is one of the few female members of the Afghan parliament since 2019. And in the past, she's often dedicated her voice to speak up for the rights of women, against sexual violence and violence against women, and also for the rights of minorities in Afghanistan. Firstly, thank you, Farzana, for taking the time out to join us. I simply can't imagine the difference in the realities we're currently living in right now.
Thank you
very much. Farzana, I want to start by asking you, on Sunday, as we watched Kabul fall to Taliban, what were you doing, and what was the day like for you? Where did you hear the news from? Can you just run me through what this Sunday was like for you?
Before that morning, last day, we were just receiving some news about collapsing of districts of Kabul to the Taliban, and coming they're getting close to the Kabul city, and just some news like political about the political situation, about the resign of President Ghani, about the settlement, about giving the control of Afghanistan or everything to the Taliban. So just had some newses. Some of them were accurate, some of them were correct, and some of them just happened. Then we just went to sleep with so much fears and concerns and negative mind. So that night, and we had some gunfires, and especially in the area of the main jail, like in Kabul. So we went to sleep, and when the morning we just woke up, I was witnessing the crowd, the hurry, the running, and the bad situation of our citizens in Kabul, who everyone was like talking on the phone. The streets were totally jammed by the traffic and by the cars of people, and those who were trying to move out. I don't know where they were going. Actually, I just had this question yet, but there was so much crowd in every day, and women were, and kids. You can imagine that everyone was just trying to run out. Yeah. Then after that, what happened was bad sense of like bad news of that the Taliban just entered the city, and then the people were trying to come back to their houses. Then between hours, just the city got empty from the people, and and just transferred to a silent city at all. Then we had the Taliban entering the city, and the fear, the concern of losing a life or maybe staying alive, we can say. So all these were with us, and what will happen to Afghanistan? Where is our president? Why he's not saying a word to us? We are those who we trusted, and we just trusted them and made them president and his team. Where are they? Are they just taking us to the Taliban, and are they like some Afghan just using a terminology of selling us to the Taliban, or what? We are the international community. We are the US. Where is the US? Where is the allies? Where is other people? So what is happening in this 21st century? We are facing a situation which never happened in 14th century. So that was like something that we never expected, and we never thought about that. We were keeping in mind the coming of Taliban, but based or through a peace deal, settlement, political settlement, a sharing of power, transfer of power somehow. We were like getting ready for that because we knew that this will happen, but not like this, that they just took the whole Afghanistan and handed over that to the Taliban. So we were not expecting that this way, and still with thousands of questions that what happened to our president, what happened to his team, why they are lifting us like this. We didn't deserve that, and I'm still in a shock or trauma, maybe we can say. I just was in chat with my friends, most of them the female. They were taking some medicine in order to have sleep. They can't sleep for 2-3 days, yet they are taking that.
I've introduced you in my introduction as a member of the Afghan parliament. Now, with the Taliban taking over the government, what does it mean for people like you who've been part of the Afghanistan government for the last 2 years? What happens to your positions?
Actually, according to law, the Taliban, or they're coming to take over, can't just, I don't know, collapse I don't know whether I can use the word collapse or not. Like, they can't just cancel the parliament based on the laws and the things we had, constitutions. So it's we are still member of parliament. We actually are in our vacation, summer vacation for 45 days. These changes could be made through the law changes, and no one can change that yet. So we are still member of parliament. We are not part of the government itself. We are part of the I don't know what you call it. I forgot the terminology. We are one of three forces that we have. Like, it's legislation, it's the government, and the other for the legal sector, like the
legislation.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, now the Taliban have said that they're back in power, women should come back to work, everyone should go back to their jobs. Would you ever, and they've also said that they're open to having women as part of their governance system in their method of government. And I want to know, would you ever consider being part of the system that they might create, holding a position within their rule? Would it mean would that mean that you would have an opportunity to have a say in what would in the future of Afghanistan, or would you not want to be seen sharing any position with a rule by the Taliban?
We were we had a peace talk which started since 2 years, and that means that we accepted the Taliban as a reality of the society. We can't just regret that. Like, we can't say that the Taliban are not the reality of the society, or we can't say that being the Taliban in the power in the government is that meaning that they are the terrorist groups, I don't know what, and we couldn't work with them, because we wouldn't be true and honest if we say that, because it's since 2 years the peace talks were ongoing in Doha, as you and everyone knows, and the Taliban just found a stage, like, in conclusion, that they were coming somehow to be part of the government, and we were supposed to work with and continue working with our government as we were. Like, we were expecting them and to be part of the power and share the power and include in being included in the decision making. So for me, it's actually it's not about who is in control of things. My aim and goal is to work for the people of Afghanistan, for my people, for my country, and for our women and minorities. So doesn't matter if the Taliban are taking control or anyone else or our government is there. I don't know. I don't like. There is a difference. Of course, it matters so much, but my concern is that how they provide services, how they form the government. If it's a democratic government, if it's responsible and accountable, and it's a transparent government that they are trying to have. As a reality that happened in Afghanistan, we can't leave all these 15 to 16 million women and girls beyond us. So we can't betray them. Then we've been politician, women leader, and since years. So we can't just lift all of them and say you can go yourself in this difficult situation, difficult time. So yeah. I will be here until I will be part of any form, like any team which can provide services and which can serve the country.
And in fact, the Taliban have come back this time saying that they're different. They're going to provide amnesty to people, that there will not be too much fighting, that they will provide security to women. Do you believe them? Do you believe them, or is this something they're saying to get more acceptance in the world? What is the reality on ground?
The reality on the ground yet is not clear because the Taliban are not completely in charge of things politically, socially, and technically. They are just in charge in security-wise. So we don't know yet. We don't have the clear image that how they will form the government, where exactly the woman would be in the Taliban's government, in the Taliban's regime, which is going to be formed, how this regime would be formed, would it be inclusive, whether it be inclusive and the other people would be part of the government, or they will give everything to the Taliban. So according to this, I said it's not clear yet. But as they were in last 20 years back, and as they were reacted and had their had done things in 20 years, that's so far from what they are saying now. I hope that this can last longer and they can continue this policy toward everything. We just had the press conference of them last night, so they were saying so sweet things. So let's hope that it will be continued. But personally, and you asked about do I trust or not, I can't trust this easily because things are so different than what happened. Our president were saying that I want to leave the country, but he did. So here we can't trust the words anymore. Afghans can't do that. So we just disappointed from the words that are coming from every group, every person. We will wait until see what will happen on the ground. We can't be optimistic, but let's have hope.
And how old were you when when Taliban had taken control last time in Afghanistan?
I was 6 to 7.
Yeah. And what was it like growing up at that point under the rule of the Taliban? What are your memories from that time?
We were in North. Before the Taliban, there was warlords who were who were capable of doing so bad things that even the Taliban, you can't say that it was better than Taliban were doing in 20 years. They were looting, they were doing anything. In the North, I was living in Baghlan. So when the Taliban came, there was we were abandoned from our rights to have access to education and these things at all, generally. But the area that we were living, my sisters and my brothers, we were going to a class which a Taliban commander or leader, I can say, I don't know, was just hiring a teacher to give education, to provide education for his daughters. So we were joining that class. And as I remember, there were like no TV, no one can speak against the Taliban. And they were so strict on the rules that they were implementing. There was no amnesty for those who just made I don't know, I can say it a crime or what. So there were so many things that they were cutting the hands according to Sharia, and they were implementing the Sharia at all in any cases. So the things that I remember was breaking the TV and these things which were connecting us to the world. And then after that, they were treating us so kindly and like other humans do.
And you're telling me that you also received your education from somebody who was in the Taliban.
Yeah, there was a teacher, a lady before the Taliban. She was a teacher too. But when the Taliban came, they closed for the schools for girls closed. But he hired one of the Taliban commander hired the teacher to educate his daughters. So we were joining those girls, and we were paying some amount of money for the teacher monthly. It was actually like a course, and we were I just learned everything, and my education started from that point.
And even now they have repeatedly said that women will have rights, but will have to abide by the law of Sharia, right? So what does it mean for an Afghan woman to live under the law of Sharia? For those of us who might not know the nuances of it, what would it mean?
We have so many countries, Islamic countries, who are implementing law of Sharia exactly, and they are the leader of Islamic world, Islamic countries. So the thing is that we don't know what the definition of the Taliban from law of Sharia is. It's clear that they should say, or might say, that you can't say it like that. The Sharia is clear as sun, as bright as sun. But when I was in the parliament, and I am in the parliament, and we were having some discussion like about the women, children, the age of the kid, who is a kid, the definition in these things. So we would have different definition, different ideas from our those member of parliament who was like mullahs, or those who were alim, we call it, like they know more, they have education on Islamic rules. So they were different between themselves even. So, in Islamic countries too, every country has, Turkey is an Islamic, people are, the most of them are Muslims, even if the form of the government is not Islamic. The Saudi Arab, the Emirates, the Iran, the Pakistan, these are the countries like Pakistan, every one of them, Indonesia, every one of them are different than each other. Here we don't know what exactly law of Sharia would mean. Let's see, to be clear, like this is a question that should be asked, and we need have discussion and to hear from the Taliban leaders.
And it's for 19 years in between, after the Taliban fell, massive changes have happened in the world. I mean, internet for one, right? We have social media influencers from Afghanistan. We have women in fashion, women learning about beauty, women in films, listening to music. Now with the Taliban back, what do you see are the gains that women have made in the last 2 decades, and what do we stand to lose at this point? I mean, even with all the uncertainty, what do you think will be the largest loss for women with Taliban coming in?
The largest loss from women, which is not like negotiable, which is not, we can't be flexible on that. We can't give up on that, is the right to have access to education and have access to work, market or work, job, having occupation. This is the main thing that we can't give up on. So this is something that if God forbid it happened, it would be a huge loss, and we can't tolerate that.
Yeah. And even yesterday, we saw some really powerful visuals of women journalists going back on the street, speaking to the Taliban, like Taliban in the newsroom being interviewed by a woman. What does that mean? What does it mean to be witnessing that?
Yeah, that gives us strength. Last day, I've been out for 2 hours, and I just attend a local TV political debate program. So to spread moral between the women, because we didn't had a woman going there or talking in Afghanistan, who is in Afghanistan. We didn't had that yet in 2-3 days. And I saw the women, the anchors and the speakers and those who are on the street. All of them are just the leaders who are spreading positivity and moral to Afghan women at this point, and it couldn't be forgotten. It's a historic moment, and they are historic women who made that.
Yeah. And have you ever received threats from Taliban in your life for the position you occupy, for your identity?
I didn't receive that for my occupation or my position, actually, because it's not a government position. It's representing the people. It's a completely public position, and we are we been elected. We are not selected to be in the government. So for sure they can't say anything about that. But I just had been treated in different ways, like the words and my opinion toward the Taliban, because it was so completely strictly against the Taliban, and I was not afraid of them to say things about them, to talk about the realities which we had on the ground. So I've been receiving that for my opinion, for the way that I talk, for the way that I speak up, for the way that I explain how the ground is and what the Taliban and these things. So and as well as my activism, I received that, and I feel that because of my opinion, not just as it being an MP.
Right. And, on Monday, the day after Kabul fell, we saw the US President Joe Biden give a speech and defend pulling out, even though he said messily pulling out the troops from Afghanistan. He said US soldiers should not be fighting a war that Afghan troops were not willing to do. Just tell me, did you watch his speech on a phone, on the TV? Did you watch it online? Like, what went through your mind while watching it? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I exactly was waiting for his speech, for what happened, and I waited for hours, or I think 1 or 2 days after Afghanistan collapsed, with the collapsing of the Kabul. It was disappointing. I saw that on TV. So it was totally disappointing. He was claiming the things which no one can believe that. he was saying, we are not fighting, like you mentioned, the war which Afghans are not fighting for themselves. We were fighting, we were fighting so hard. Like, we lost lives on both sides. On both sides, we lost Afghans, and as well as on the ground, the civilian we have lost so many lives, and we paid a high price to conquer or combat against the terrorism in the world, not just in Afghanistan. Afghans were fighting, but when the situation happened in the stage, in the lobby, in the moral that the Taliban just received that, of course, as a government, as a security forces, we went to a situation that we were just losing the moral day by day. After that, what happened? Then the US just made an agreement with the Taliban, with those who Afghans were fighting with them. The Afghan government were fighting with them. They just made an agreement, and then the US, the President Biden, just announced that sooner withdraw. You know what it means? Then what happened? We and the security forces, we just lost more morale, more some believed that, okay, US had a deal with the Taliban and leaving us, and we would be facing where the salaries will come, where the foods will come, where the equipments will come, how to have airstrikes. These all were the questions that everyone in security forces, I don't blame them, like the soldiers, like the commanders were faced to, and they didn't had a quite clear answer for that. And the government, how it was suffering from the corruption and these things. Unfortunately, our government, and still it was something that we can't fight this war alone, especially at this time that everyone in the world just didn't respect that the Taliban are in war with Afghan government and is an anti-government group. No one respected that. Our neighboring country, in the region, everyone invited them, give them the stage, give them the legitimacy, make them to lobby, hired them, the persons to lobby for them. How he can say that Afghans are not fighting the war for themselves? We have been fighting this war for 20 years, as hard, as difficult as we can. Men, women, kids, everyone. How our hearts are broken into pieces by the every decision that the Biden has made, and the effect of every decision of President Biden on the government, on the people of Afghanistan, on the women. And we were just screaming. We are just speaking for months that please don't do this. We are going to have a peace agreement with the Taliban, but please don't give them the moral, the legitimacy more than the Afghan government. They just bring the Taliban from here to here, and then they let down the Afghan government and the people from here to here, and then they expected that these young people of us, young generation, after thousands or lakhs of lost, could we fight that war when the world are not on our side, but in the Taliban side? Could we continue that war? Could you continue that? Because every day the US and by President Biden was saying that we didn't lost any American since we had the deal with the Taliban. So here, the Afghans' lives matter or not?
Mm. Mm.
It did, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So it should be considered important too. This is the thing. Like, it's not true. I can't believe on his words. They are changing their mind. Every time they can say a different thing. They were saying that they are here to help Afghan have a government, have reconstruction, help with reconstruction in this and this and this. Now they're saying we were there for Al Qaeda. So Al Qaeda went, we should come. Okay, Al Qaeda was done in first years. Then what happened? Here it like needs a deep conversation and research, and that I wish the international organizations will conduct research on this and will see that where is the reason of this failure? Was this a plan? Is this a coincidence that happened? Who played the most important role in this failure? We as an Afghan, we as a nation, that we paid a high price, fight it with the Taliban. Every one of us right now are the enemy of the Taliban. Why we have fear? Because we speak up against the Taliban. Those who can spoken about them. Those who can fight it against them. Those who can say bad words against them. Every one of us are the enemies of the Taliban. The women, the men, even the children, how they grew up. We all grew up and knows that Taliban as a group who just did some so much violence, like from blasts to everything that you know better.
And I want to ask you, as in the last 10 days, when at least we were watching the news from here, the words that were being used was, this province has fallen to Taliban, that has fallen to Taliban, Kabul is falling to Taliban. Now, were you surprised at the lack of resistance there was to Taliban? And I'm wondering, does that reflect some amount of support for the Taliban on ground?
Yes, we were like... we were surprised by the collapsing, because it was so easy and without battle, and the soldiers were contacting us, were crying, were screaming that I'm not leaving the ground to the Taliban. I'm not giving up on my country, on my village, on my district, on my province. I can't do that. Help us to resist. They were saying that our commanders are telling us to come and just leave everything and just like give up. But the soldiers were not. We have got brave men in our military. I'm so proud of them, and still I am, and yet I am, and I will be. But the problem was the leadership problem, the corruption, and the commander's problem. It needs more research to be done. I don't know what was that. I was surprised by the collapsing, but when the war got to the doors of the cities, I'm happy that no battle happened and we didn't lose so many people as we lost the Helmand province. It burned in the fires, in the baruts, in the bombs, in the fighting, and we lost kids just being shooted and is on the ground, and no one cares if it's a kid or it's a what is that? No one in the world can treat like a cat in that way, that our kids are being treated that way. It's so unfortunate, and it's not easy to explain in words the feeling. So I'm happy that kind of battle didn't happen, but I was surprised at all But you have to know the reason.
Yeah. And just to go back to the leadership for a second, I was reading a Time magazine report which said that even during the presidency of Ashraf Ghani, Afghanistan was still one of the most difficult countries for a woman to live in. And when Ashraf Ghani was asked this question, he said that this was because of the misguided Western aid, which didn't understand the reality on the ground. I want to understand, do you think President Ashraf Ghani had done everything in his efforts to make Afghanistan a better place for women?
Just according to the woman, does the President Ghani did everything in his power to the betterness of the woman? Yes, I believe in this. Having the First Lady on his side, and giving ministries and deputy ministries in the parliament and all the support to women. And I feel that he respected women from heart. And I feel that respect several times when I was facing him. For the woman, just the focus of this question is on the woman. Yeah, he did everything on his power to have to build a better future or better now for the Afghan woman. Yes, he did. He tried.
Yeah, Farzana, before I let you go, there's one thing I want to ask you. We've been sitting here watching the news of Afghanistan. What is it that you would want to tell the international community at this point, and even people in India? What should they know about what's happening in Afghanistan? What should they be doing? There's a lot of people I know who want to do something, who are also feeling a lot of emotions at this point across the world. What is it that you would want to tell them?
We've been through so much these days, and now we are in a position or in a place that even those who are so keen to help can't do anything to us. But I wish that those women, those people, those youths who are in danger, in fear of losing lives, should be helped. And the second thing is that yet left, and we can do something for that, is that the Taliban are not in charge of things yet, and they didn't start the ruling yet. They will be here, I don't know, by power sharing or what kind of the government would farm for the future, like in some between days. But to think that everyone maybe can help, or is that be a voice at least for Afghan. I'm sorry. The thing that everyone may be able to contribute on that, and still there is a chance to contribute on that, is the safety and security of those who are in danger of losing their lives, and as well as to speak up for Afghan women and Afghan young generation who grow up with some values that they can't give up on them. So we can be a voice for these, like everyone can be a voice for us. So in order to just have to become an impression or a pressure to the Taliban as the leaders of the world, like our neighboring countries, the leaders from, again, US and everyone in the world can make this help in this regard.
Yeah. Thank you, Farzana. I know this is an extremely emotional moment for you, but you've taken out some time to speak to us. You're in our thoughts and prayers. Some powerful words there. I pray for your safety. Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
The subscription model is something that keeps Newslaundry afloat, but we need hundreds of thousands of people to completely transform the news ecosystem. So you pay for news, so it serves you. So click on the link with this video, subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. और गर्व से कहो, मेरे खर्च पर आज़ाद है खबरें.